calling all sports fans and athletes. Have you ever longed for a place to converse about your passion for sports? Hang out, talk sports, meet athletes, and be heard. Sports Chat TV. And here's your host, Brooke Brown.
Welcome to Sports Chat TV, everybody. It's a special episode. NBA playoffs have started today. I'd like to welcome my guest, Jody, and he's going to talk a little bit, introduce himself, and why he's huge in the NBA. And then we'll get going on our debate, or whatever we're doing. So, welcome, Jody.
Thank you. My name is Jody Ancar. I'm here from New Orleans. LeBron James fan with the Miami Heat. So just want to come in and just talk a little bit, about the NBA playoffs.
Nice. Alrighty. Just NBA, or do you like other sports?
Oh, I like them all. Really basketball, football. Watch the baseball, especially during playoff time. But I'm a huge boxing fan also. Love the sweet science,
Nice. I love boxing too. I like boxing over UFC and all that.
Yeah. I don't get with the MMA. I don't like that. I like boxing.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so as in the pre-show we were kind of discussing the matchups. Let's continue. So your Heat kind of dominated the Knicks today.
Of course.
A little. Yeah, but I expected it to be a little closer.
Mhm.
So what do you think of the matchups? Do you think it's just Wade, Bosh, and LeBron just taking it to Amari and Carmelo?
I do, and I think that's the way it's going to be pretty much the whole playoffs throughout, every series, and that's just how it's been all season. It's just really been, those three guys, or mainly LeBron and Dwayne, and then Chris, just picking up the slack in the rear as far as on the scoring side of things and on the offensive side of the ball, and then total team defense. But also, on offense, Mario Chalmers, he chips in a little bit, and Shane, is back there to knock down a couple threes. But for the most part, it's pretty much, LeBron and Dwayne.
Well, did you like having Udonis Haslem back in the lineup today? Do you think his fire was a help too?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's they need guys like that. They need guys like Udonis, because they need guys that are grinding out. The guys that are real scrappy. They really like that. I really wish that they would have had some more ball players that come off the bench and really be just grimy ball players. And they need guys to do the dirty work. So. Haslam, he definitely provides that for them. He provides that bit of grit that they need.
So, granted, everybody stays healthy. I mean, because LeBron had a spill there for a while that was a little scary for the team. Granted, everybody stays healthy. You think, they have it to go forward? Do you think that LeBron won't choke like he did in the playoffs last year in the fourth quarter? Yes, I do say that because I'm a Celtics fan. And I love the Mavs. But anyway, go on.
I got you. Yeah, I do. I think that LeBron and all of them, I think that they do have what it takes. LeBron, I know that he didn't show up last in the finals for whatever reason. I don't know what it was. But it was right after I want to say the Mavs came back and were able to come back in, I want to say game 2 or game 3, whatever game that was, when Miami was up, and then once Dallas came back, it was where they just took over everything, and LeBron just disappeared. And all the way up until that point, they really looked good. And then I don't know, for whatever reason it took their fire away. And so I say that, we're probably going to find out what's going to happen come finals time again. Because who knows? Because, think about it. LeBron, he didn't show up in the finals. However, he was the one that showed up against the Bulls, for when they got to the finals, because Dwayne didn't show up in that series. So I know LeBron takes a lot of flack for the finals. And so I don't know. If he shows up, if he would have showed up last year, they would have won it. And I think if he shows up this year, I think they're going to take it too.
Do you think? Well, I was watching the coverage earlier, and they were predicting that you could potentially see the Heat playing the Bulls because the Bulls just manhandled the 76ers, which is to be expected. But, Rose suffered that. He tore his ACL today. So without Rose being the point guard they need, do you think that the #1 Bulls it's going to be all different in the playoffs? Do you think they're going to rely on Kyle Korver and a lot of the other offensive powerhouses?
Well, I'll say if you're relying on Kyle Korver, I'll say that you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But I would have to say for the Bulls, I don't see them making it to the finals without Derek. And I couldn't see them making it to the finals before he got hurt. I pretty much figured that they would have to rely on what they had. Because Derek, I was surprised that he played so well that he has today, because the few times he has come back and played, he wasn't Derek. So I figured anything that he could give him was lanyard. It was just all extra. So I think that the experience that they have without him is gonna really aid them. But you can't say we're gonna ride this train with John Lucas at the helm and take us to the finals. But I think they could possibly make it to the conference finals though. But it's going to be interesting.
So, being that you're a fan of the East, do you believe that the East is better than the West this year? Because a lot of people have said that the West has been dominating with the Lakers and Dallas playing well as of late. You know what I'm saying? So.
I don't know. I don't know if I can really say that, because if you look at it seems like every team that there's something lacking. Nobody is really just a runaway favorite. Just to be able to take off, my fan hat and just be honest about it. Miami, the lack of a bench is really hurting them. Lack of strength on in the post, on the front court is hurting them. But you have with every team, you had the Bulls, they missing Derek. And in the West, everybody has problems. You can look at even Oklahoma City. They cause their own problems in a way. Just looking at with Russell.
Kevin Durant.
And so I think that I don't know what's going to happen with them. If Westbrook, if he's going to turn into John Starks and try to just win everything.
Well, then Durant would have to be Malone, because.
Right. But it's just, I don't know. But he got to get the ball from Russell. Russell just goes down the court and just throws it up sometimes. In a way, he kind of reminds me sometimes when he plays. He kind of reminds me of J.R. Smith. He just tries to just take over. But it's I don't know. I can't really say which conference is the better conference though.
All right. Well, in terms of matchups, and a team that's kind of been dominating in a way, but kind of below the radar would have to be San Antonio. Now, if Ginobili stays healthy and doesn't flop, yes, I am saying that, because he flops a lot and then gets injured. I'm sorry, it's the truth. But if he stays injured throughout the playoffs, or uninjured, healthy, do you think that with, Duncan wanting to get another ring,
They could, but I have to see. Because I have to, because I don't forget last year. Last year, they got knocked off. So I don't know what's going to happen with them. But I'm very much surprised, and I'm happy, that they were able to play as well as they did. Because think about it, when the season first started, nobody really picked San Antonio, especially with the shortened season. Everybody said that the teams with the older legs, that this wasn't their year. It was all going to be about the younger clubs, because back-to-back games, and but I got to really credit Coach Popovich with getting these guys prepared and keeping these guys healthy and pretty fresh throughout the season to be able to take that #1 seed. But I really have to see what they're going to show.
All right, yeah, it's been interesting in the West, because despite them playing well, they weren't the teams being talked about. Oklahoma, the Clippers, now with Chris Paul. Playing with Blake, it's kind of shifted as to who's more popular and who gets more airtime within sports media. So it's interesting how they stayed below the radar as much as they did, considering how well they played throughout the season. But
But
66 games as opposed to the whole normal season, which would have been over 100 games. Do you think that plays a factor in how teams play? Because a lot of teams got off to a slow start this season, surprisingly, even with the extra rest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, they started off slow because the guys were on vacation.
yeah.
Everybody, they didn't really have the training camp to really get their legs under them. So I think a lot of your preparation, your personal preparation, really came through and really showed. You could look at with Dirk. How Dirk started off and he wasn't really playing. I think he was out or wasn't playing. Wasn't playing well. So it really was on yourself to see how much self-control you had to your profession to get better.
So in terms of retirement, even outside of the playoffs, even with the teams, do you think like certain players, this would be like their last season? Some of the older players, like we saw that Brad Miller is going to leave because Minnesota. He just ended with Minnesota because Minnesota didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Phoenix is thinking that Nash will move on because his contract's up for free agency.
Right.
Granted, depending on how Dallas does in the playoffs, do you think Jason Kidd will retire? There's a lot of, Grant Hill, got injured again, so he was out for the rest of the season until the season ended. So do you think it's interesting to see a lot of these, quote unquote old players, but what they're going to do now that the teams have kind of all shifted with the way the lockout went and all that?
I think they should. Not sure retire, but I think they should really reevaluate what they're going to do and see if they could get on a winner. You mentioned Steve, and you also mentioned Grant. They got to move on. If they won a championship, they had to leave. It's not going to happen to Phoenix. And I think that Phoenix, I think they should respect Steve, and I think they should have traded him. Before the deadline. I think that would have been a real nice thing to do to give him a chance for a ring. Because he did everything that he could do for him. I know he's been talking about wanting to play with LeBron. I think it'd be a good thing to see him go to a club that can help him win. But if they decide to walk away from the game, I don't think that they can hold their head down at all. One thing with Grant is just a lot of his career he lost, just being injured a lot. And that's just real unfortunate. But we'll see what happens. But I'd like to see Steve in the Miami uniform next season.
In Miami. How would that work out? I was actually really surprised to see LeBron go to Miami when he made his big decision.
Really?
Yeah. I figured it was going to be he was going to choose New York or Chicago over Miami. But when he said, hey, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, I was a little surprised because I figured with him playing with Wade and Bosh, it was, one of those things where, egos don't necessarily mesh and, all that. So were you surprised to see LeBron go to Miami or?
In a way, I thought that he was going to stay. I thought he was going to stay in Cleveland. But if he didn't, I figured it would be Miami. That's the only two places I thought that he would go. I didn't see him in New York because of just New York being New York. New York hadn't won anything. New York had just been pretty much losing until they got Amari there, and that was the off season that Amari got there. So they were still not really too good of a team. Didn't see him going to Chicago because I didn't think that he would like to try to play in Michael Jordan's shadow. He's already been compared and talked about he's the greatest ball player out there and everything like that, and people want to compare him to Michael. So and that's something that he could never live up to, even if with his numbers and if he even won 10 championships, he still wouldn't be Michael Jordan. So that was just it would just be unfair to him. So I figured the only place he'd be able to be is in Cleveland and Miami. Thought he would stay in Cleveland, but I think that had he stayed in Cleveland, he'd be like Kevin Garnett. He would just be there his whole career and never win anything.
Kevin Garnett has won though. He won with the Celtics after he left the Timberwolves.
Right.
So.
Right. That's my point. Meaning that he would have stayed his whole career, and if had Kevin stayed out there with the Timberwolves,
We had a little bit of technical difficulties. It happens. New technology. What are you going to say? So anyway, before we were rudely interrupted by our computers freezing, Jody was talking about what he thinks about some of the players that are quote unquote old, as I said, what they're going to do next season. So to continue on what you're thinking before issues happen.
I don't know where it cut off at, but I just hope that some of the older ball players that they, if they decide to keep playing, that they go to a team where they have a chance to win the championship.
Yeah. I mean, I feel for Steve Nash because I respect the dude, and I think he deserves. Same with Jason Kidd. I mean, Jason Kidd's like, I'm gonna admit he's like my favorite player, but I also respect Nash, and I feel that it's had he not chosen to go to Phoenix, there would be a little bit different because even Nash has said his team Phoenix can't win, and I'm like, well, why are you so apathetic? Don't you hope to win at least one championship before your career is over? But
right.
Charles Barkley didn't, so anyway.
Right.
So in terms back to the playoffs at hand, we didn't get to talk about the Lakers are playing. Oh, I need to look at the bracket, but the Lakers.
Denver,
that's right. Even with healthy Kobe and clutch situations, do you think they'll even do as well as previously done? They've had a weird season now that I consider the Clippers a little bit better, but maybe that's because of the acquisition of CP3. So
I don't know. I don't see Los Angeles, the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. I don't see the Lakers winning the championship this season. I think that the title that they run is pretty much over with. But
do you think it's because Phil Jackson was gone this season and it was Mike Brown, or?
I don't know. Maybe.
You think it's Meta World Peace? I don't know.
No, I think just another year. I think everybody getting better. Now, granted, I don't really care too much for Mike Brown as a coach. I never really did. I always felt that even when he was in Cleveland with LeBron, it was give LeBron the ball and just do what you want to do. And I feel like that's kind of how he is out there in Los Angeles too. I know that's how he be with the Lakers. Give Cole the ball and just play. But I don't know. I think it's just another year. I think people getting better, and I just think that's pretty much what's catching up with the Lakers. But
do you think it was a major loss that they lost Lamar to Dallas?
No.
Do you think that was a good trade?
No. I don't like Lamar. I don't care.
You're not an Odom fan, Mr. Kardashian. Okay.
No, not at all. He's soft to me. He's soft. He's showman soft. He just he's never. He's a ball player that I think a lot of people believe that he has a lot of talent. Being a big man that has some mobility and can handle the ball a little bit, but it's never materialized. He's a guy that, I don't know. It's just something. It's just something about him. He's just soft to me. And when he went out there to Dallas and he was crying, seemed like he was crying, and I saw a picture when he was leaving out of Dallas after they got rid of him. Yeah,
he quit Dallas.
He quit. Yeah, he quit. I saw a picture when he was after they let him go, and he was in the airport and he had a Lakers shirt on. He was like, "Come on, man, just stop." And I don't know. I never did care for him. He was always just real soft to me, and I don't like soft ball players. I don't like that.
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
Yeah, he talks soft, even when he's giving interviews. He don't have no bass in his voice. He's just soft all the way.
Yeah. So if the Lakers would have gotten rid of Gasol, I think the prospective trade was to New York, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Paul would have went to Houston.
Oh, Houston.
Yeah. He come to Houston with the New Orleans trade.
Do you think that would have made a big deal? I think. With the Lakers, do you think they even would have made the playoffs? I mean, you can't rely on Kobe.
I don't know.
Even with Bynum gets so injured every season with his knees.
Yeah, I think that they would have made the playoffs, but I don't think they will be the seed that they are. I think they're the 3 seed. I don't think they would be there. But yeah, I believe they would have still made the playoffs. Though I don't see. I think Kobe would have willed them to the playoffs. But nah, I don't think they would be in as good of a position that they're currently in right now. And Bynum, I don't really like Andrew Bynum either. I look at him like how you say, he's a guy that's hurt a lot. I don't know. I think he's kind of just lazy. You know what I mean? Just I don't know. Just something about him. He just doesn't he doesn't have something. He's missing something, in my opinion. But people talk about him and Dwight. Shaq gets on the TNT talking about Andrew's the best center in the league. No, I can't go with that. Because if they had a chance to just straight up, trade Andrew Bynum for Dwight Howard, you best believe Los Angeles would take that deal. And if they would make that deal, everybody would be talking about LA being a favorite. So nah. And if you're the best center in the league, then you would go down if you lost him. So that's not gonna work.
So to catch up, Orlando ended up beating Indiana 81-77.
Wow.
And Thunder and Mavs are underway as we speak.
Okay.
In terms of Sunday's matchups, Utah and San Antonio, Boston and Atlanta, and then Lakers and Denver, and the Clippers and Memphis play tomorrow too.
That should be an interesting series. Don't really hear too much, about Memphis. They kind of still under the radar like they were last year. And I mean, you never know that they could be the Cinderella team, like last year too. Because Rudy's playing this year. I don't know what would have happened had Rudy been out there last year. But they have Rudy. Mark is playing well. OJ is even giving a little bit this year too. So I don't know. You never know what could happen with Memphis, but I don't see them taking it all away. But I'm interested in seeing just what they can do. I think they're going to give the Clippers some fits.
And I didn't check. Is Chris Paul healthy enough to play tomorrow, or is he still out?
Don't know.
Because that could be a factor. I mean, as you said, Memphis is under the radar. They've obviously made the playoffs, so they're good enough. They've got enough wins. So if Chris not there, I think you could chalk it up. Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, just like you just said just now, Indiana won without. The Magic just beat Indiana without Dwight. So you never know. You never know what can happen. But
yeah.
I don't see the Clippers doing anything without Chris though. I was really disappointed when I saw Chauncey go down. I would really like to see how they would have really made out had everybody been healthy.
I really have respected Billups, even back when Detroit was the team. When the Pistons were huge, when they had Hamilton.
Right.
You had everybody. I was really hopeful for the Pistons back then, but now, everybody's either been injured or, been traded.
Right.
You don't hear about Billups or, and Hamilton's on Bulls, but everybody talks about Rose all the time. So.
Right. Well, none of those guys were superstars. It was just that it was just a perfect mesh of just team guys coming together under a good team coach. But it's just it's Larry Brown though. He does for some reason he doesn't like winners. He always likes projects. He always likes to get teams and try to get teams to get better. Because anytime a team is doing well, that's when he leaves town. But during that time, it was just a perfect storm. Just when they had just a lot of solid team guys that weren't selfish and just played solid basketball. It was like Hoosiers or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to go back, I was actually going to go over this a little bit later, but in terms of coaches, who do you think the coach of the year was? It Larry Brown or do you think Doug Collins? Who's your coach of the year? In terms of improvement of a team, not necessarily. I mean, I know you like Spoelstra, but
I don't really care for Spoelstra too much.
Really? As a Miami fan?
Yeah, because I think that even last year, I think had they had a better coach, I think they could have possibly won it. Because I mean, they don't even last year when I watched it, I was even real happy when they got Mike Bibby. I used to call him Money Mike when he was with the Kings. But you would watch it, and a point guard, he'd bring up the ball off the court, and he would pass it off to either Dwayne or LeBron, and he would run to the corner. and you just watch it, and that would just happen every single time down the court. And it was a situation where, okay, it's LeBron's turn, okay, it's Dwayne's turn, okay, it's LeBron, and that's just how they didn't have a game plan. You know, it was just trying to just have more talent than other team, and just be better physically. But as far as schemes and everything like that, they didn't have it, and I thought that Spoelstra lacked in that category. But as far as the coach of the year, I don't know. I've seen some things on television where they talk about the Pacers coach possibly being coach of the year. But I don't know. I haven't really given that too much thought, though, about coach of the year.
To me, I think it's either between Doug Collins or Larry Brown.
Larry Brown?
Yeah.
Wait, Larry?
Not Larry Brown, but Doug Collins really is actually my pick.
Okay, because Larry Brown not coaching. You know, he's going out there to whatchamacallit? He's going out there to SMU.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because he's not with Charlotte anymore. Mike got rid of him.
Yeah.
It could be Doug Collins though. You know, he's still trying to get the Sixers, to get a little bit better. And you never know what could happen with Derek being out. This might be their time. It might be their time to knock off a top seed.
Right. So obviously you agree that LeBron is your MVP pick, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Give me. I don't agree, but everybody's picked him already, so he's probably going to be picked.
Who you like, Kevin?
No. I mean, I like the Celtics, but I don't think he's MVP. No, worthy. I would say, honestly, I would have given it to Chris Paul before he got injured, honestly.
Okay.
For what he's done for the Clippers.
Okay.
I mean, I love Rajon Rondo, but I mean, they've snubbed him a couple years ago, so I can't really but I don't make the case for LeBron. I know LeBron has skills, but I mean, all around, I don't know, he's lacking in the assist column. That's all I'm saying. So.
Okay. I would say LeBron for the fact of just being a complete ball player, both sides of the court, offensive, defensive, and he's been a consistent ball player for Miami. Because you've had Dwayne with various injuries, where he's missed a lot of games. Chris has been out, but LeBron has been there, every night, and just willing the team. He's the guy that just plays so many minutes. The whole season he's been solid. It's not where he started off slow and picked it up. It's just from the beginning of the year, opening tip off. He's just been at the top of his game, and it's really been pretty much out of him and Kevin Durant. But I just really see LeBron as just having it all, that he can move the ball, he can shoot the ball, whatever it takes. He brings whatever Miami needs. But I really think it will be out of him or Durant. But I think LeBron, is the guy.
Do you think in terms of most improved player, do you agree that it's Jeremy Lin, the Linsanity before he tore his ACL, or do you think it's, it should go to a rookie or a second-year player? I mean, Jordan Hill. See, I went to U of A, so I follow all the previous Wildcats, and I didn't even realize how well Jordan Hill was doing as a Laker, because he used to be on Houston with Chase Budinger and a lot of some others. So it was nice to see him in the last few games, even in that thriller game the other day. 14 pounds, 14 points, and he had at least 11 or 12 rebounds. Mm-hmm. So, who do you think is your most improved player for this season?
I don't know, because I didn't really spend too much time thinking about it. But if you want to bring Jeremy Lin into the conversation, I think it's hard to not give it to him for the fact of he doesn't have anything to base it against. This big season compared to last season when he's the last man on the bench. So that's a huge improvement. So I think if you put Jeremy Lin in that conversation, it's hard to not give it to him.
Yeah, I mean the Linsanity thing was crazy, and he handled it correctly. I mean he was just well, I'm just playing basketball, y'all. I went to Harvard, but now I'm playing my game, you know.
Right. I was real happy for him. I really was. I was real happy for him. A little skeptical, you know, just as how good he is, you know, because he's so brand new. And when you got a guy that's brand new like that, you don't have the opposing team doesn't have any kind of footage or anything like that to really figure out how to stop him. So I was, you know, really always skeptical as to what, you know, how well he would perform once teams started looking at him and forcing him. I saw eventually they started forcing him to his left and doing different things to stop him. But you know, he had some game though. You know, he could shoot, you know, and everything. So, you know, he have a nice little shot on him. So I can't knock him. You know, I wish him the best. You know, and I think it's a real good story to have a guy that was sleeping on somebody's couch and, you know, nice, you know, being a man out there, you know, in the Big Apple.
Especially without Melo. Wasn't Amari out at the time too?
Yeah. And you know, because they were just playing so bad, you know, and then once Jeremy came in, you know, they picked it up. And matter of fact, when they got back, they started messing up again, you know, because, you know, they were able to play with Amari. He was able to play with Amari, but once Carmelo got back, that's when they started losing. Now, I don't know if a lot of that is dependent on who they played against, you know, as far as the strength of the schedule, but I saw the problem start to creep up again once Carmelo got back in the lineup.
Yeah, so.
And that's just been New York, period, because, I mean, think about it. Last year when he had New York, it was Amari, he was running it, and the Knicks were improving. They got better. But then once it was Carmelo and Amari, they started having problems. So I don't know. I don't know if Carmelo is the common denominator, you know, as far as the problems that they're having or what they could be without him, you know, because, you know, he demands the ball so much, and he's a real good ball player, but I don't know how he works into their scheme, you know, if they would be better without him. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, you know, because they're not going to get rid of him.
Right. So, we pretty much covered everything playoffs, even not playoffs. So, your predictions for the games tomorrow, and the game right now going on?
Predict for the game right now, Oklahoma City.
And Dallas.
Right. Tomorrow, I look for the Celtics to win against Atlanta. I look for the Lakers to win. Oh, well, that could be an interesting series, too, with the Lakers and Denver. That could be an interesting series. So, I'm not a Lakers fan.
But Denver doesn't have Kenyon Martin anymore. Right.
True. You know, I think it's going to be interesting, but in the Lakers, they're going to miss World Peace. World Peace was suspended.
Yeah. He doesn't really live up to his new name. No, what he did to Harden. Just saying.
That was nasty. But
you still run our test, in my opinion.
Right. Ron Artest snuck through, huh?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting one, but I think Kobe and them will pull it out. Who else is on tomorrow? Look for
the Memphis
Spurs. If the Spurs play the way they're supposed to play, and play up to their number one seed, look for them to win, be Utah, and then I don't know, like we talked about with Memphis and the Clippers. I like the Clippers. I like the excitement. I like Lob City and all of that good stuff. But
you can't deny that Blake can fly. I mean, it's just like
absolutely
he can dunk that ball with
absolutely
such ease.
Yeah. Anybody in his way. I just hope that something happens. Either he stands up for himself, or a teammate comes and takes up on his behalf, because I think he could wind up getting hurt out there. It just seems like because guys, they can't stop him once he get in the air. So they resort to other tactics. So I don't want to see him get hurt, and he plays so hard. But I don't know what's going to happen with them in Memphis, because I really got to look at Memphis, because the way they played last year and everything, I can't count them out. So that one's a toss-up. That one's a toss-up for me. It's going to be really interesting.
All right, in terms of the Knicks, do you think it's going to be a sweep for your Heat, or do you think they're going to win in 5 or 6?
It could be five. It could be five. It could be five. I don't want to just discredit them, but it could be 4 or 5. It could be 4 or 5.
You want it to be the sweep.
I do. Because
That way they get a rest before the round's over.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. I was glad that they, sat LeBron down for those last couple of games to finally get him some rest. So I wouldn't mind him getting some more rest. Not at all. Because this is for the title. This is for the title. So
the ring.
Yeah.
But it's been an interesting season in general with the lockout and then the 66 games and the slow starts to certain teams and just the gap between how many games back and below 500 a lot of teams were before even the All-Star break. It was kind of scary. So it was like it's interesting to see now. I love the playoffs because it's a whole different thing, really.
Absolutely. Especially the first round, you have games all day long. So
yeah.
Every day you have games. So yeah, especially the first round. But I think we in for a treat this year. I think we in for a treat. I just really want to see some real good solid basketball, and I think we're gonna get that this year.
All right. Well, I think we've covered it all, and it's been nice talking to you. Join me anytime you want, and I'll probably have this up for all the viewers. We had 6 viewers, but now we have none. Sorry.
Oh,
don't leave us out there. But anyway, have a great night, everybody. Have a great night, Jody. And
all right, you too.
We'll probably check in. We'll probably do another episode because it's the playoffs. What are we talking about? It's not over yet.
Right.
Well, I have to do one before the finals. How about that?
Absolutely.
All right. Have a great night and great rest of your weekend, everybody.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye.